NASCAR's first road course race of the season in Austin, Texas belongs to William Byron, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs also have strong showings. Let's talk about NASCAR and COTA. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert, and let's talk about NASCAR in Austin, Texas for the first of 5 road course races this NASCAR season, and today belonged to William Byron. Absolutely dominated, getting his second win of the 2024 NASCAR season, the first driver to get repeat wins this year. Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs were trying to find a way to get to him at the end. Christopher Bell had a great charge there on fresher tires at the end. It looked like if there were maybe another lap or two in this race, Christopher Bell was going to be able to catch him, but just didn't have enough time. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the top 3 drivers of the day. Of course, we'll talk about the top 10 for today. And we'll talk about some drivers that had disappointing days that we expected to do good on the road courses. Chase Elliott with a big mistake we'll break down. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell exchange words after the race. Let's go ahead and talk about everything that happened in Austin, Texas today. We have to start out by talking about the driver of the number 24 Chevrolet, and that's going to be William Byron. What a performance by William Byron today. Absolutely, I would say dominated the race. We had a few drivers that tried to get to him. You had Ross Chastain that got by him at times. Christopher Bell was probably a little bit faster at the end on the fresher tires, was going to be able to catch him, but once again, just didn't have enough laps for him to get there. But wow, William Byron is just super impressive already. Multiple wins this season, only 6 races in. By the way, I want to mention that if you go back to last year, 6 races in, William Byron also had multiple wins. That was back-to-back races at Phoenix and Las Vegas early in the season. William Byron is really strong right now. And once again, William Byron is going to be a threat. Remember, went to the Championship 4 last year. Byron's just on a roll, right? I mean, won the Daytona 500 just a few weeks ago to open out the season. Probably one of the biggest win, if not the biggest win of his career a few weeks ago. Won today at a new racetrack for him, which was Circuit of the Americas, first win there. But William Byron, just the variety of racetracks that he's able to win at and runs so well at. You go back to Daytona, obviously that's a different monster than anything else we go to. You go to the races he won last year. He won 6 races a year ago. Road courses at Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen was his road course win. You go to short tracks, mile and a halves. William Byron is just strong week in and week out wherever we go. I think the last couple of weeks he didn't finish quite where he should have because it just had some issues like last week early in the Las Vegas race, had a trash bag come over the grill, completely took him out for the win there. You go back to last week in Bristol where it just had an issue early in the race, toe link bent in at Bristol. So just unfortunate situations there. But William Byron, one of the most consistent drivers in the Cup Series and one of the best. I mean, you can just look at other veteran drivers when you have the pressure coming from anybody. Like Christopher Bell was trying to catch Byron at the end of this race. Byron just makes no mistakes. He's just perfect all day long. Gets on pit road perfect. Gets through the S's, which was a point of conversation today because you will get a penalty at this racetrack if you cut the track is what they call it. So you kind of go into Formula 1 terms there. I never was worried about him doing that because I essentially know he's not going to make a mistake when we go into it. When I watch William Byron leading and he has to capitalize and has to go mistake-free, I almost know he will. I know he's not going to cut the track. I know he's not going to speed on pit road. I know he's not going to slide through his pit box. I know he's not going to make any of those mistakes because he's almost essentially perfect. And I've said this before. It's really fun to watch. It's incredible how kind of key he is. So we'll have to continue to watch that for William Byron moving forward. He's going to be a threat this season and already is. Rudy Fugle being on top of the pit box has helped excel his career. Definitely really strong. Let's go through my top 3 drivers of the day, and we're going to make it really easy. I'm going to go through the top 3. We got William Byron in there, who I just discussed. But let's talk a little bit about Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs. Christopher Bell, I'm starting to become really impressed with how the start to his season is. Once again, another one of those drivers that made the Final 4 last year, having a really good start to this year. Earlier a few weeks ago at Phoenix, was able to get the win in dominating fashion, come through the field. You talk about how it's harder to pass in NASCAR right now than it has been over the last few decades, right? I mean, NASCAR, it's difficult to pass right now because of dirty air, because the cars are so even. Christopher Bell can just do it. Christopher Bell, what a day for him. Won the first stage because he stayed out, didn't come down pit road before the stage in, which essentially, usually that takes the driver out of the race contention for the win. But with the strategy, with Adam Stevens on top of the pit box, what a run by the 20 team. Was able to finish second. Man, if this race had another lap or two, I believe that Christopher Bell could have been right there with the 24 car, at least to battle it out, because Christopher Bell probably didn't have a better car than Byron from, the start to the finish, but had fresher tires because of the strategy. That could have been a really strong move there for Christopher Bell and Adam Stevens above the pit box. What an impressive performance by the 20 car. I'm impressed by seeing what he's been able to do this season by coming up through the field multiple times. Like I said, you go back to Phoenix when he restarted, what was it, 19th? Came all the way back up to the lead where nobody else was really passing in that race. And then, of course, today, another very solid day for Christopher Bell. And Ty Gibbs, of course, is my third fastest driver, was really fast all weekend as well. I want to say he started in the second position, then, of course, was just solid all day long. Couldn't quite get the win, but was fast and was trying to come up there at the end. But I want to take a look at these top three right here, right? And I'll go ahead and put up the entire top 10. But if you look at the top three, get used to seeing that real soon because you're already starting to see it this year, right? Christopher Bell already has a win. William Byron already has a win. Ty Gibbs in contention for the win. It's essentially weekly. Remember, Ty Gibbs led the most laps last week in Bristol, but that was kind of he just didn't quite manage his tires as well as Denny Hamlin, a veteran, did. One of the best drivers in NASCAR, right? Denny Hamlin wasn't able to quite handle the tires as well, but strong showing for Ty Gibbs. Like I said, that first career win, sophomore slump's not going to happen. That first career win for Ty Gibbs is right around the corner. It might be next week in Richmond. I mean, really, it's right here because you're starting to see a sort of change in the drivers that you're used to seeing win. You've got William Byron, Christopher Bell, both made the Final Four. You're going to have Ty Gibbs join that group very soon and a few others as well, and then we'll continue to talk about that moving forward. Alex Bowman. We talk about how Alex Bowman really isn't the most solid road course racer. It's not his type of racing, except at this racetrack, COTA, for some reason, and they talk about that in the pre-race. Had a solid run, finished fourth today. I want to say finished third in the first race there, if you remember that kind of sort of crazy finish with A.J. Allmendinger and Ross Chastain. So this is a solid road course race for Alex Bowman every single season, it seems like. He's always able to get it done, get a decent finish. But Alex Bowman, fourth place finish. And you remember, like they said today, I want to say it's a now 67 race winless streak for Alex Bowman. There's been a few injuries, missed races in between there, but Alex Bowman desperate to get back to victory lane for that 48 car. Another Hendrick Motorsports car. So Alex Bowman definitely desperate to get back to victory. He's not won since Las Vegas in 2022, the first Las Vegas race in 2022. So it's been a while. Alex Bowman trying to get back over that hump to get another win this season. Tyler Reddick, we sort of expected him to do a little bit better. Remember, this was kind of his race last year where he dominated on like 3 overtime restarts, was able to pull away every single time. So not a disappointing day at all by Tyler Reddick, I don't think. A solid fifth place finish, but like the broadcast we've said, the competition is so high, they were able to look and see what they could do to improve to beat Reddick. And then, of course, Reddick just never had the track position right, and track position is still key. Even at road courses, Reddick was never quite able to get that track position. He just didn't quite have enough to get up there and get the win, but a solid fifth place finish for him. Definitely want to keep watching that 45 Toyota at every single road course race this season because he's going to be a threat to win them for sure, no doubt about that. A.J. Allmendinger, I'll never stop talking about how impressive it is that somebody that does not run every single cup race, that runs a part-time schedule, is able to finish in the top 10 consistently, battle for wins consistently at road courses. Won the Roval a year ago on a full-time schedule, that was, but even in 2021 when he won the Indianapolis road course race, that was a part-time schedule win, and that's just absolutely blows me away every time because it's so difficult to compete at this level, and A.J. Allmendinger is just so good at the road courses. You go to his Xfinity stats, they're exceptionally impressive. You go to his Cup stats, they're exceptionally impressive as well, considering how difficult it is to run on Sundays. Ross Chastain, solid day today, your 2022 winner of this race. He was actually leading for a decent portion of the race, just didn't quite play the strategy right at the end, so he lost a little bit of time on that. And once again, I don't think Chastain had a top 5 car really all day long. I don't know if he was, I don't think he was as fast. I wouldn't say top 5, but he wasn't as fast as William Byron, Christopher Bell, or Ty Gibbs at all today. So the fact that he was able to lead some, being aggressive and making some right moves was certainly fun to watch. Chris Buescher, solid 8th place run for him today. Chris Buescher's also been one of those drivers that's been very consistent, waiting to see him kind of get over that hump. Can he get over the Joe Gibbs Toyotas? Can he get over the Hendrick Chevrolets and take that RFK Ford back to victory lane? I think it could happen. We have a long season, right? 20-something races to go. I think Chris Buescher will get that done, but he's sort of the top 4 driver at the current moment, maybe outside of Blaney, but Blaney got spun, didn't have the best day. So we'll have to continue to watch Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher's teammate, Brad Keselowski, was completely out of it today, had one of the worst performances from Brad K we've seen in quite a while. Kyle Busch, solid day for Kyle Busch. He was probably, I'd say he was definitely a top 10, maybe top 5 race car. Was running in the 5th position when Christopher Bell sort of dive bombed him into turn one, turned him around. That was unfortunate for Kyle Busch there. Kyle Busch actually was upset about that, went and exchanged words with Christopher Bell. A few keynotes today taken away from Kyle Busch is one, I do like the way that he went with Christopher Bell. You have to show these young drivers that, you're now a championship contending team, right? Christopher Bell is, but you still can't just run into me. And second off, because Kyle Busch, this is the first performance all season coming to race 6, no pit road issues that I saw. They're not faster on pit road. They're not the best team on pit road. I didn't see a penalty. I didn't see any massive mistake. I didn't see a wheel fall off. So key takeaways there from the number 8 team, a solid top 10 finish, but probably could have finished in the top 5 if it wasn't for that spin by Christopher Bell. Martin Truex Jr., issues from the get-go, had a trouble in the very first lap of the race, had to come down pit road, get that fixed. Luckily, Truex was able to capitalize all day long and come all the way back up and get a solid top 10 finish. So congrats to Truex on that for grinding it out all day long. I had a couple other drivers I wanted to talk about that had bad days. We had Chase Elliott, who was he was in the top 10 for really the entire race, but unfortunately, I talked about it earlier, cut the corner in the S's, which is one section of this racetrack. You are not allowed to cut the corner. Chase Elliott unfortunately overdrove this corner, which shoved him over into the other corner on the right side of the screen, and unfortunately for Elliott, just got the cutting the track penalty. Essentially completely ruined your day. It happened to Van Gisbergen the day before in the Xfinity race, which took him from finishing 2nd to 27th. So it's an unfortunate situation, but the rule is clear. The rule is set. There were minimum drivers that made that mistake today, so unfortunate to see that from the 9 car of Chase Elliott, who could have had a solid run. Unfortunately, does not finish where he wanted to. He finishes in the 16th position where he could have finished probably in the top 10, probably in the top 5 if some things had have went his way. Once again, Shane Van Gisbergen was in this race. I do want to mention him. Didn't quite get what we wanted to see out of him. A solid 21st place finish. We saw him have some issues yesterday in the Xfinity race, like I said, but just wanted to mention that he did finish in the 21st position. Another driver that didn't have a solid day was Michael McDowell. Once again, Indy Road Course winner last year. Very solid road course racer. Just not the best day for Michael McDowell. Unfortunately, I think he had some mechanical failures early on in the race, so he was wheeling that car hard all day. And what a hard day it was on the racers from start to finish, right? Not only Michael McDowell, it was a hard day on everybody. We saw Carson Hocevar, the rookie. We saw Corey LaJoie get out of the car, very stressed out. There were drivers all on pit road, laying down, trying to get fluids. Probably a lot of them going to get IVs after this very hard road course race. And once again, there were 0 cautions today except for the 2-stage cautions. So that certainly makes it a little difficult as well. But that's it. That's really all there is to talk about following this race in Circuit of the Americas. I enjoyed the race. I hope you did. Next week, we do have Sunday night under the lights in Richmond for the first night race of the season. Richmond should be a good one. Very strategic racetrack. We'll have to see how that plays out next week. Hopefully it is exciting. But that's it. That's all there's to talk about. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Share the video if you do. I really do appreciate it. And of course, about Kyle Busch finally breaking back into the top 10, let's get rowdy.